we go. That took some real coordination. Good evening. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I'm your host. A Wind is Timeless. It all does start with a gentle sadness. I am the holder of the continuous ball game created by the Hero Twins. I am your galactic daddy-o, sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. Welcome one, welcome all. How is your funk? Are you feeling these energies? Has anybody had a chance to meditate and get out amongst the energies? Okay. All right. As I predicted, it was a beautiful day here, a little cooler, but I was just out looking at the moon and it's very cloudy, very, very cloudy. But still, I'm going to leave all the windows open and stuff because still can observe. Oh, and still doing the magnesium water. So pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them. Gosh, I guess I'm going to start on a somber note. My guy called me earlier. I was making one of my sports videos, putting it together. Best friend that had bought the jig unit for his son. Oh, damn. I had to cut this thing and didn't cut it low enough. What are the odds? Oh, there we go. And so he had called me earlier, and really, like for him, I did that video, and then I think I ended up cooking or something and forgot all about it. And then I was like, oh, let me call Tony back. And so, I guess kind of going back a little bit, during the fight last year with Wilder and Fury, it was a group of us that brought food. We all chilled at his house. And so he was like, you remember Kelly? He said, do you remember Kelly? And I'm like, yeah. And Kelly, they was having some issues, and it was a little experience I had. So I was able to kind of, they had just brought some stuff up. I was kind of able to help his girlfriend's daughter. Like, this is kind of the steps you want to take. So, we just talked and spent the night, spent the night together, but spent the evening together, watching the fight, eating, just being being cool with good people. And so he called me and said me, that he told me that Kelly apparently had caught COVID, and this cat's only 46. And word got to him that apparently even Kelly is now, they're going to have to induce him in a coma. So, saddened to hear that this fairly young man that might succumb to, it sounds more like pneumonia, but it's like serious. So we're going to send energy out to him for sure, send energy out to that good brother. So so what's happening? Melbourne just announced today another 7 days. You're kidding me. Wow, it is open here. I mean, it is open. It is open here. They ain't wearing masks at the casino anymore. But everything's open. If it wasn't for the CDC or no, the teachers union, the children would quit wearing masks in schools. But that's what the teachers union suggested, that they still wear masks, which is not good. So, yes. We whooped that ass today. That's why I'm wearing the wild gear. I said when they win, I'll try to wear the wild gear. The only problem is I don't have any summer wild gear. It's like buying short sleeve wild shirts just doesn't seem appropriate. But it's cool. I had the fan on last night and glad I had my comforter in there. It got a little chilly. So it's been in the 50s today. But yeah, Wild won 3-0. Fights all over though. That's what was so funny about it. is that it was just like every time they were always almost taped one guy like um, the Vegas player had kind of punched the wild dude, and out of nowhere the wild dude uppercutted him. It was kind of nice. It's like, oh, that was a good one. But all night, a little more physical, but 3-0, so good game. Um, that was game 6, right? Yeah, 3-2. That was game 6. So I believe the next game is going to be in Vegas. What is this, Wednesday? Well, I mean Thursday morning, but Wednesday game. So Friday, I imagine Friday in Vegas, Friday, Saturday. I wonder if they're going to give me an extra day and go prime time for game 7. So, but hey, the one Aggie Pride spinach chip and chips for me tonight. Oh my goodness, I made just some burgers and cut out the bread, and then I took about 2 pounds of green beans and roasted them on the stove. So yeah, my daughter grubbed, and then I had the munchies, and so I killed almost some nachos myself. I killed just the regular chips. I don't do a whole bunch of cheese, so. Oh, thank you, Sebastian. But what's happening, SD? What's happening, Sebastian? Thank you. But Aggie Pride for the one. Hit the. Oh, thank you. So, hey, Crazy Sarge, what's happening? Overstand Mocha, thank you. Yes, thank you, so very nice. So yeah, 15 new cases. We go on a 7-day lockdown. Oh wow. Okay. Now can't say things have changed here. Again, yesterday they had concerts and everything. At the George Floyd stuff. Not just was I was at. I didn't even know that they had a concert near the football stadium, U.S. Bank. There's a field near U.S. Bank, and which is from the east side. It's not real far, but it's like you got to go over the highway to get to the other side. So, but they had concerts. Noticing the Utah game today looked at like 16,000+ people. There was people sitting in the rafters. So at Utah, I missed the first game. I didn't even know the first game. I missed that one. Now I saw the Atlanta game, and that's why I was able to see kind of the agenda. The agenda was the same like what we were seeing yesterday with the Lakers winning. But anyway, I missed the first game. Didn't even know it was on. Messing around, messing with that machine. And let me tell you about this machine. I can still send it back. So I think I'm sending this thing back. I found another one that'll do the same thing. It's mobile. You collect blue. It charges the same way, but it's a mixer too. So can't get this one to work. I've got plenty of people, but we'll see. Yeah. He says Jack says that Utah Memphis game tonight was the most rigged game of the season. What did Moran end up with? 44 points. Did he make another basket? Because I turned it to kind of look at something else, and he was up to 44 points when I turned it. So yeah. Oh yeah, Jack. It's obvious. It's in our face. It's a mocking, a whole lot of mocking, but they don't care. I mean, people still watch it, and that's the thing. I wish they would just admit it that it was fixed instead of acting like it's not. I guess this is how if it's legitimate at all, it's legitimate like this. They wait to see how the betting goes, and then they put in the final script. So that we know that part we know that part is true. We can see when the shots are made. We can still see the same stupid fouls that make no sense that we see game after game after game. It's like a regular person wouldn't make these fouls. Why are these top athletes making these fouls? So it's the same thing we see. Oh, he ended up with 47. Okay. Yeah, so he ended up with 47. So he must have. That's right. He got fouled and he made it, and then he shot the free throws. I think when I was changing the channel, he had shot the free throws. Oh no, it was 2 free throws. He didn't make the shot. So he got smacked in the face. Yeah, so he had 44. He got smacked in the face. I turned it then when he was sitting there. So he made them 2, which made 40. So he might have made 1. Okay. Well, so yeah, he had a heck of a game, but we see, yeah, it is. Yeah, people still do believe, and that's the thing. Don't believe. You got to know it's fixed. So who do you think will win that series? I think they're forced. They're forced to push Utah. They're forced to. Just as we saw with the Karl Malone, Stockton thing. They every so often they give them energy to push them so far. So small market team, hard to sell, hard sell. I'm a note. I want to see the ratings. I want to see the ratings on that game because really, there's nobody with a high Q rating that plays for Utah. Not even Spider Mitchell. Plus, he got hurt. Remember, he got hurt at the end of the year. So, um, ratings, ratings would be out. Ratings on Utah's game. I want to see how that went because I imagine with the hockey going on, because it was a game before. It was two hockey games tonight. At least I watched two. So, but yeah, I it's hard for me to like basketball fans are basketball fans, but sports fans, I would have rather watched the hockey game than especially the Wild. I'm definitely watching the Wild. That's why I missed some stuff of the games the other night, Tuesday night, because I'm watching the Wild. Kind of, that's my first priority. I should have turned the game on the computer, but I didn't really think about it. That is flavorful. So I'm thinking for this series, Utah. I'm definitely thinking they're going to push Utah to this series. Um, I think and I'll say this with the Denver series, with Joker probably going to get the MVP, they might push them through again over the Clippers, shaming the Clippers again. Um, so the 3-point fouls are beyond the joke. Hey, Antoine, I'm sorry I didn't see you. People watch Utah here in Australia due to Ingles. Yeah, I figured that, and their whole roster. That's the thing for Dallas and them. Their whole roster is filled with players from other countries, and so there's interest. They're like eight, nine players from somewhere else. Conley, Favors. I'm trying to think. Number 23. I can't think of his name. That's Conley's Favors. Trying to think who else. Oh, Clark. Clark. That might be it. That might be the only American-born players they have is those four. So, I mean, Spider Mitchell does have a little bit of a following, but players don't like going to Utah, especially having to spend the night in Utah. Utah is where if you go to a bar, you have to be sponsored by somebody from Utah. So you've got to know somebody in there and they've got to say yes, and they sign you up, and then you can drink like that. Now, I don't know about the stores. I can't say. But yeah. So tomorrow I'm picking the Lakers again. Who are the games tomorrow? Again, I missed the first game. I was lunching. Let's see. Who plays? Oops. Oh. NBA schedule for tomorrow. Show me the NBA schedule for tomorrow.
Oh. Did you mean May 27th, Thursday, or May 28th, Friday?
I'm confusing her.
There are 3 conference quarterfinals games for today.
Yeah, I'm still going with the Heat are going to be at home. They're having trouble scoring. They were showing how bad what is it, Tyler Hero? He's not playing very well. Either is number 55. He's not playing well. I think the Bucks are going to take it again. What's the date though? 0-2 on the 21st. They might let them win at home. Let me look at this overall to see if there's a pattern here. None that I can really see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're 4 any kind of way. And there's 6 teams, 46, 11. The 11 comes back. Okay. So that's the only odd game from the 11. I am going to say that the Heat are going to win tomorrow. That would be the odd. Denver looked pretty good. I think the Lakers are going to win another one at home. Or excuse me, Lakers are going to win at home. So I'm going with the Lakers at home. It is such a hard call because of they love Damian. They love Dame Dollar, but tell you who needs the game more. The Nuggets need this game. I wouldn't be surprised though if the Blazers win at home. So will it go all home? That's the other question. Will it go all home tomorrow? I'll say this: if any team loses at home, I would say it would be Portland. But I don't have the Heat haven't looked good. I don't know. I guess we'll look at it. So I'll definitely say I'm going for the Lakers. I'm going for the Lakers, and I'm pretty confident with the. I don't know. The Heat haven't looked good at all, though. It might be the Heat being the odd ones out. Yeah, I'm a switch. Again, this ain't, you look at these games that, okay, you got Dame Dollar that people follow. And of course, LeBron. Who follows anybody with the Bucks and the Heat? I mean, it's just not going to be a good ratings winner. But Heat haven't looked good, but I could see them winning. So I'll think about it and remind me before we end. But right now, I'll say that the Heat is probably odd one out winning at home. But I don't know. My original thought was that the Heat gonna win. So I don't know. I'd be so wrong, as y'all know. I'd be so wrong sometimes. Sometimes I can catch the patterns, and sometimes I can't. So, but I'd say if anybody was out, it would be the Heat. Yeah, it would be the Heat. The other two people winning at home. So, but I was right with the Knicks. Didn't the Knicks end up winning? Yeah, didn't the Knicks end up winning? Or did they? Did the Knicks win? I forgot. I watched the game. I forgot already. Oh yeah, I gotta check that out. Okay. Oh, here we go. Tonight's NBA scores. Oh, Wednesday NBA scores. Hey Jim. This thing is high. Here we go. Supposedly. It do shit. Yeah, I didn't see the Sixers game. I missed that one. Yeah, the Knicks won. Right. 141, 129. No defense. Yeah, the Knicks won, which didn't surprise me. Yeah, Philly's gonna put them the Washington to rest. Okay, so yeah. So what we had is home, home, home. So there's the pattern. So did you follow that? Everybody at home won. I wouldn't be surprised. Now I'm gonna change it. I wouldn't be surprised the same thing happens tomorrow. This is how they do it. Would not be surprised the same thing happened tomorrow. Everybody went at home then. Everybody went at home tonight. Everybody's gonna win at home tomorrow. So that's my prediction now. Looking at that, I think everybody will win at home. What is this? So, D Rose, they pumping him up again. And it's such, it was such a shame the way he got hurt and how he started. I'll tell you, if you look at a rook, or when the year he won the MVP, I mean, he was the bigger guard, the stronger guard. That's what I loved about his game. Almost like he was Barkley's body on a much more mobile, strong, going to the hoop kind of dude. Now remember Rose too. Remember Rose missed them free throws in the NCAA championship. Get him and what was the other guy? He had the double name. He went to Michael Jordan's team. He went to the Charlotte team. So I can't think of his name, something Douglas or something, but they missed them free throws too in the championship game, which would have won the game for them. But Rose was decent. In that game, he scored 50. Do y'all remember when he scored 50 here? That you talk about a fixed game where Rose was really the only one hooping. But I didn't go see it, but I watched it. And I was like, because again, all the Timberwolves games are on television. And I was just like, he's crying afterward. You guys just don't know how hard I tried. But I was like, yeah, they gave you a lot of help tonight, buddy. Oh, and some things from the Utah game. Now I stopped again. That was like when Morant got that last foul. That's when I stopped watching the game. So 2 minutes left. But up to that point, maybe this has changed because again, I stopped at 2 minutes. But the Jazz had made 15 field goals, which I think was a playoff record. 15 field goals. Not only 15 field goals, at that point, both teams had shot 55% from the field. I do remember this part though. Now, at the point of the game where I turned the game off, Memphis had only made 6 for the game. 6 threes for Memphis. So if you don't think that's basket manipulation, they had only made 6. What's the odd that one team will make 15, one team makes 6? And you got a player, what did you say? He made 47 points? Not this. He made 47 points? But both teams shooting 55%. I just don't see that. Very improbable. Now, again, we got the big fella from France that most of his shots, all his shots is pretty much dunks or layups. But 15 threes, and the other team only makes 6, which seems more realistic, but we know. You think they had a system in place when Rose was at the Bulls? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the system has been in place since Michael Jordan played Portland. When Michael Jordan did the shrug game, all those shots were manipulated. That wasn't his game. I mean, just the way he shot his three, you can kind of see he didn't have the smooth shot. He changed his mechanics again. When he would shoot his threes, he doesn't really do the kick. The kick is kind of with his fadeaway compared to when Kyle Macy would shoot threes, he still did the kick. Where Jordan incorporated that when he fell away. He'd fall away and then he'd do the Kyle Macy kick. When he shot threes, he didn't really do it. Whereas Kyle Macy, no matter where he shot it from, he still did it. So yeah. So when Rose went in, that's why even looking at Rose, when Rose got hurt, he shouldn't have been even playing. Now, could it have been a fake injury? Doubtful. He ain't really been the same moving dude. Like when Kobe tore his Achilles and remember he messed his shoulder up, he was never the same player. No, the most fixed game in the NBA history was Kobe shot when Kobe made 63 points or 60 points out of 50 shots. 50 shots. Somebody's doing their laundry at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's not very respectful. I'm glad I don't live next to that shit. Hey, woke sister, thank you for joining me. Kid Gilchrist, thank you, Jack. Yep, Kid. Chris Douglas Roberts. No, it was Kid Gilchrist. Yep, Kid Gilchrist. That was him. Because they said that was the last one Michael Jordan beating 1-on-1. I have Spence. Pacquiao can be knocked out at 43 years old, fighting another fighter that has the top of his game since they cloned him. That clone is a bad boy. That pressure he put on last fight, how's Pacquiao? And Spence is a little bigger dude. How is Pacquiao going to get away from that pressure? That constant pressure. I don't see him punching him off him. Don't see that at all. Looking for my chapstick. My daughter could. Oh, there it is. So I just don't see how Pacquiao is going to keep him off him. I really don't. That new clone Spence, boy, that's the best Spence. That last fight was the best fight we've seen Spence do. and that constant pressure. And I don't see how Pacquiao is going to be able to keep him off him. His punching power ain't going to be enough to keep him off him. Is he going to be able to move him enough? We'll see. We will see. I just don't think he can. I don't think he can. So I'm saying Spence could even knock him out. Yes, Moray, you did ask earlier. All right. Now, this is how kind of this works. Moray, you have to put your intention into this. Yes, you asked a question, but now you have to put your intention into this. And granted, we are miles away, but the intention can still, just because you asked a question, so the intention can still be put into this. So are we connected to the right? Yes. To the left? No. Yeah, I figured you didn't mind showing off. All right. So, like when you ask the question, once you ask the question, you have to put some energy kind of going into not persuading it, but your true energy behind the question you ask. So go ahead. Do I have a urethral structure? That's fairly. Does he have a urethral structure? Does Moray have a urethral structure? So he likes to know if he has a urethral structure. To the right, yes. To the left, no. Now, is this as definite? Any stronger? Is this definite? Says you do. Says you do. And thank you for whatever energy you could put into that. So it looks like you do have one. Yes, it looks like a connection like you do. So I hope that is helpful. Still, you meditate on it and see if that was the answer you were seeking. Yeah. No, one question. Only one. Not more. Only one. Hey, Brisk Clown. Thank you for joining me. I'm sorry. It's just time for one. And maybe one night I'll just set up with the pendulum and I'll put some cards out. And it'd be easier to do with the phone. Yeah, one night when I'll get the phone holder, get the earbuds for the other phone, and I'll set out. And I can do cards too. I'm pretty good at. I don't have the meanings memorized, but what I can do is I can read through the meanings and see what's specified for that individual. I'm kind of good at that. I just don't practice a lot. So, yeah, that's the only way I can give you tonight, Moray. But I hope that answers your question. But hey, Brisk Clown, thank you for joining me. So not a whole lot going on up here. Again, weather was so. Got a little bit of outside time today. Not a whole lot running around. Passed out a little food today. It's amazing how much food can weigh in the tonnage. But again, the amount of elderly people that need the help. I mean, if you can help, it's a lot of old people that their pensions ain't helping them. I mean, to me, if there's any part of society that truly needs more food help, it would be elderly, I think, because when you think of children in a family, you know they can get help. Old people not so much, and so you can help with that. Keep your mind open and help where you can. What else in Minneapolis? What else new in Minnesota? Energy's feeling any different? Yeah, when I was down there the other night, the energies are feeling quite different. Excuse me, the other morning, yesterday morning. The energies were quite. See, like I live down here near this pink granite, and it's pretty country. I mean, not country in the thing where I'm driving where there's nothing. No, it's a lot around, but it's not as many stop signs. not as many stoplights. So the energy is very relaxed down here. Now, every time I go in the city, see, the way they do this is a lot of different kind of ways too. Is they change the color schemes. Like I was saying, in around the lakes, Lake Calhoun, Lake Harriet, and where all these $1 million houses are, but even just the colors, and not just the colors of the house, just the signs and everything. The colors are, there's a different energy there. But when you go like on the south side or you go to North Minneapolis, the colors are, it's just dreary. It's interesting how, and there's no pink granite up there, not even as fill rock. And again, you get fill rock from around your area. I understand that. But it's like the colors are different. And I'll say this, I never go, if I have to go to North Minneapolis, I never go unarmed. I'm always armed because it's so volatile over there. Now, I personally haven't had problems over there ever. I've never really had problems over there. Now, the guy did get shot in front of one of the houses I lived in. Little girl, young lady got killed at the end of the street. Somebody just shot into a party about 10 years ago, killed a young girl. So, but yeah, the energies are definitely off. It just makes you wonder. Again, we know who did the shooting out there before all that. Before I got down there, we know where that's coming from, and that's a warning from them. That's a warning from them that they're watching who's celebrating. And you can imagine that this police force is taking a lot of heat nationwide because there's not many cops that's ever been prosecuted, and we still don't know the sentence. We still don't know if his pardon will be successful, but that's bread. What point is the union going to cut ties? Because I saw one guy get convicted, the guy that I talked about, the sheriff, that I didn't think they proved he killed his wife. I'm not saying he didn't do it, but he worked in the lockup. But he got convicted of killing his wife, which I didn't think they proved it, but he did get convicted. But my point is, once he got convicted, the union didn't give him any more bread. So is the union going to help this dude with his appeal and all the money they raise from conservative and police? So are they going to keep paying for this? Because at some point, you could see them not paying anymore. So I just wonder that. So yeah, the energy is off up there, but down here, it's things is getting better. But I'll say this: I noticed, like I talked about Burnsville. I'm about 15, 20 minutes from Burnsville. Some spots I can get quicker, but they had started to board up, and then that guy who carjacked and got shot that I did a video about. That's not very far from my house, but they were starting to board as some more of this, as the court, the court was ending, the trial was ending. Some people down here were worried that there were, because there was a little bit of rioting, but not much down in this area. The moon is the same way. It's like you're looking at two moons. Have you seen the full moon so long you see a white behind it? Have you ever looked at a full moon so long that you see the white behind it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I have. Like last night I was saying, watching it last night, everything opened up behind it. So I don't know what kind of porthole I hit, but I had, again, both my Citrines. I moon kissed these outside last night and earlier tonight, and a porthole like opened up of just seeing the stars behind the moon. So that was quite interesting. So yeah, there's let me see. Softer energies coming off the moon too. It's softer energies. That happened when I look at the sun. I swear there be two suns. Well, yesterday being the day out of time and the end of the fifth sun, so a new sun was born today. So I've definitely caught two suns. I've talked about that before, but so could have been one taking one down and putting another one up. It's like you see two moons. Dr. Mitchell had a toilet bowl lay up, manipulated. Yeah. Yes, Brits Cloud. I checked that out too. I am in Pittsburgh. Yesterday the temp was in the 80s. But Sunday our high is 55. We're quite A little bit opposite. We are in the 50s today all day, but sunny. In the 50s, but sunny. So it was nice. Now it's cool. You see how I'm dressed? It's cool now. It's too cool for me even to have the fan on dressed like this. What is our weather gonna be like? I think it's gonna be in the 80s, like on for the holiday. We're supposed to get rain today, Thursday. No, it's gonna rain anytime. Interesting. It's gonna rain anytime and then rain all freaking day. Yeah, okay. No biggie. Yeah, it's gonna rain all day tomorrow, so it's gonna be shit in the 40s. We just had 86 yesterday, or Tuesday. It was 86. 80, 83 Monday, 86 Tuesday, and then we're gonna have a high. Wow. Yeah, it's only gonna be a high of 50 tomorrow, so it's gonna be jeans, sweats, rain. So, but then back to 63 Friday, 66 Saturday, 66 Sunday, and then by the holiday it's gonna be 72, which is great for up here. So comfortable. But it's, what is it right now? It's mild, 55. It's mild. It's been like this all day. It's been 55 basically all day. I had to turn that fan off. It got pretty. Does the weather feel different in Minnesota? Different how? Unnatural? It's hard to say because, I've grown up in the Midwest and I'm not surprised what it will do. Now, when we had that snowstorm, we had the 15 inches in 15. That felt unnatural. I had never saw snow in May. Never. I had never saw snow in April till I moved here. But I mean, 15 inches. It was 15-inch blizzard. By the middle of next day, without flooding, it was gone. It got to about 60 the next day, maybe even 70. It melted like in a couple days. Like it went from, I had to dig out my driveway because there was no parking on the streets, not at night. So we had to dig out the driveway so they could park the cars in the driveway. And I didn't have a blower. So it was like my sons were all older and we had to dig out. Matter of fact, we had to dig out enough. My one son got stuck in the street. So we had to, shovel out to get him out. So sometimes I would say, yeah. Perfect example. If you ever heard of this, they talk about sideway winds. That we had sideway winds. I had never heard of that. It's like Forrest Gump tries to say he thought the rain was coming from the side. Well, we have sideway winds that act like tornadoes. Back in 15, we was having what was called sideway winds. The other thing is thunder snow. Thunder snow seems like the most unnatural thing I'd ever witnessed. Freaking snowing like shit and it's thundering. And I don't mean just, I mean full boom thundering. Not really lightning, but thundering. And they call the shit thunder snow. I never heard that. So yeah, I dread some ways. That just happened to me on my way home. Okay. Have you ever seen a moon bow, like a rainbow around the moon? Almost. I would say almost. Yeah. I'm trying to think the vision I'm getting. Yeah. The vision I'm getting from that. Yeah, I think so. I caught that before. I would say maybe with glasses, though. Maybe with glasses. I think a little bit when I wore glasses. One time I caught a little bit of that. So a little bit of that. Yeah, I can relate to that. But yeah, I want to say when I wore my glasses, I got a little bit of that effect. So, but I'll tell you one thing that's interesting about all this. So it's like, if you look at this society, our government, and everything, you see like how really they are growling their teeth and how ugly this government can be. And then they try to bring back this from being just this ugly thing that really wanted to test everybody by locking you down less than a year ago. Now it's just okay. After all the businesses that was crushed, it's back. It's okay. They've done a few things, inserted a few things, and now it's okay. That I do find very odd because it's these same evil motherfuckers. That ain't changed. It's the same evil motherfuckers. Definitely. Maybe they don't like that word. Well, he said, there's the YouTube person, motherfucker. and I think I'm gonna do. I'll go live with the equipment maybe a couple more times before I send it back. Just the people that don't stay up late, because I know there's people that don't stay up late, and I probably should do a live during the day. And then my daughter will be here, so I can still use the equipment. Maybe watching the game. What time did it say the games was coming on tomorrow? Because I missed that first game. I didn't even know it was damn on. And I was just cooking. Oh, here we go. No, I don't want that. Oh, never mind. It's like never mind. So yeah. So that's an interesting question though. That's an interesting question. Yeah, the energy. And I'll tell you, the people that live over in the north, they seem a little more concerned too, because the people over north ain't the ones that gave them problems. That's the thing, and I'm copying the way they say it over north. The people on the north side ain't the ones that complained about the police. It was the south side where the stuff happened, but they're penalizing. So do you understand? So it ain't see the most people talking about defunding the police don't live on the north side, but yet they penalize the north side. Does that make any sense? And like one dude, whoever his channel is, and he's always showing black on black crime. But one thing he didn't understand is the people where all that crime is happening in North Minneapolis, them ain't the people that matter of fact, they came back and they said, they did a petition saying we're in favor of more patrols. And they just got a bunch of more bread. The police department got a special package about 2 months ago. So all this crying that they ain't got enough officers, they gave them more funds. They gave them more funds 2 or 3 months ago. And maybe I should report it on that. But they got more funds. So it ain't really, they doing the rhetoric of defund the police and they're going to change the policies in some ways, but they just gave them a big amount of money to keep going. So, and a lot of them stayed on, saying that they're suffering from the riots. Well, we just, all that yelling and people hating us, and it just makes me cry every night. You see a grown-ass man complaining to his shrink. Is shrink a bad word still? It's so many phrases now. Is that a word that's not supposed to be used? The shrink? Does a shrink you down? And I told you, my ex and I went to marriage counseling or couples counseling, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And the lady had nothing in there to clear energies. And I found that weird. And I've talked about this before. It's like, here you are talking to all these people. What do you do to release this energy? And I didn't see anything that she did. So you have an environment where people come and talk about their problems. If you don't have a way to cleanse that daily, that energy kind of hangs around. And what can happen, and even either any of you ever witnessed this, it could creep on you and become an attachment with you, where you get in another person's problems. So if you go to that kind of stuff, you cleanse yourself and you make sure you take a little bit of protection if you do have to go to something like that. Because that energy can hang around. Because she didn't have incense or anything, and I know people are sensitive to smells, so that's kind of a hard thing to read. But there's so many other ways to cleanse energies too. Sound, easy way. But you have to have something to release it, or you're just going to keep building up energy in there. So that's something to consider. That's something to consider. Even when I go to just regular doctor's appointment, which they're going to start having again, doctor's appointments, uh, which is, you know, we hit my phone's got all the things about, they're already hitting you. And now they're saying that the younger people, 12 to 18, can come join. And that's some shit. 12 to 18 now. You guys come join. You can join Uncle Sam's army. Will it ever go away, y'all? Will it ever go away? And doesn't it seem more and more like it's a psyop? More and more every day. Every day we get these same kind of, fear, 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 death, fear, 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 fear. And what do people think about this brother that points out the black on black crime? What do you guys think about that? Is that something that should be reported? He always says people are Tommy. I've caught him doing some his name is AK something. I've noticed some of the stuff that makes me wonder about who he's really part of. Because some of the things is like, yeah, that's how them people talk. So I caught a little bit of that. But overall, it is a thing that is prevalent. It's like we don't even like each other. We don't even like each other as a people. Young people are really taught not to like each other. But as a people, we don't even like each other. And the more we group up together, like he showed a grouping at Kings Island, which is an amusement place. And this is what's interesting. Like we have Valley Fair, which it's not cheap to get in there. And an amusement park, it ain't cheap. You're paying a nice little bit. So you're talking about all these people pay this amount of money to get in there, and then all that energy is going around. Look at me in the wrong way. You bumped into me. Different colors, different hats. And all the young people, they do that to go in there and just not get along. And it's like when we talk about Africans tend not to really like each other. They don't like really other tribes in a lot of instances. And we seem to be like that as well, where we don't like people from a certain side of town. So how do you get over that kind of thing? Then we got these who I smoke glorifying killing of young men. And we have the young murderers now. And that's like the teardrop. 15-year-old. How do your brain's not even formed. And already you want to be an imbecile psychopath? I mean, that's kind of what we've raised psychopaths. Because we have the grandchildren, we have the grandchildren of crackheads. The children of crackheads are now parents. So we have a generation that wasn't really raised to not trust old folks because all they want to do is get high. So they were the children were kind of out for themselves. And now what we see is this lower product that would make young people psychopaths. And America is the home of the imbecile psychopaths, being purposeful. They purposely have raised these type of people. They bred them in some instances. And given them the medication when they're little. No empathy, no emotion. So you take a person at 5 years old and you give him that medication for 10 years. And some of those medications, you have no emotions at all. You have no emotion. One of my boys was saying until 11 o'clock, his head was just cloudy. He would take the medicine first thing till 11. His head was cloudy. There's no way he said he could even concentrate. And so you have these people that take this meds, then they get 14 and 15, already borderline psychopath, emotionless. And you can put poor in there, or poor as possibly can be these days. Then you have people recruit them, and the violence is all around them. It's the play the tag with gun game. Play the tag, play tag with guns. You shoot at us, we shoot at you. And it's really like old dog said now. Like I reported this week, 6 children got shot here. I think 2 of them got killed. What did old dog say? I don't care who's out there. If we think the enemy's out there, we'll lay everybody down. That's that old dog mentality. I'll kill everybody out there. I mean, you got to think that you see children, you shooting at somebody and you got to see the children. What do we see in Snowfall? They saw the enemy. They didn't care who was in the car. They didn't notice till afterwards. They just blindly shooting in the car. And the little girl gets killed in the TV series. Who was wrong there? They the parents thinking they taking the child to a safe spot, not thinking about the bigger picture. There ain't no safe spot. Oh, I'm smooth tonight. Sebastian, thank you for joining me. I'm very smooth. Thank you. Thank you for joining me tonight. And so we have today, and then tomorrow will be the last night of these full moon energies that you can enjoy. If you're able to get out and get the moon bath, not a bad thing. Good time to manifest. That's one thing with the full moon energies. Okay. But thank you for joining. Hey, homie, Americans get meds for everything and wonder why they so fucked up. Been healthy my whole life. Never needed none of that shit. Well, that's good, homie. That's good. What I'm getting a lot of people bothered now is allergies. I mean, I've suffered from allergies my whole life. When they first noticed I had them, I had a cat. And I lived with a cat for a whole year. I was living with my father, and he had cats. And I lived with a cat the whole year. And I had a cold, which we learned later was allergies. And I was allergic to animals. I have a tolerance for cats now, but not dogs. Not so much. I lived with dogs for about 2 years and got better with them. But since then, if I'm in a room with one, I'll start sneezing and shit. And that could be why I have sneezing attacks every now and then. I might be allergic to the allergies. I'll say this: my mother has a hairless cat. That cat I'm allergic to because it's something with her dandruff and her no fur. Her dandruff I'm sensitive to her dandruff. So I've always had to have pills. They have a black British actor played American. Yes. Well, that was what I call blackface. I called that blackface. That's the same thing I called blackface on in the Fred Hampton movie. I was like, that was blackface. Now I've given the dude props. I mean, the dude studied Fred well. The way Fred talked, his mannerisms. I think they kind of with the I'm for the people and all the people. I think they overdid that a little bit, but that they said Fred's speech, so maybe not. 1 in 13 children have allergies. Wow. I know my family, it runs deep through my family. All my brothers, yeah, especially the Macon side, all my dad's families. Trying to think all my children. Yeah, all my children pretty much, my daughters too, they pretty much have to take medication. and I had to take medication. I take a couple allergy pills, so I can tell when I get out. You hear me? There's days where I'm still I sound a little stuffy. So, but yeah, it's very common. That's a very common occurrence. I'll tell you, I tell you, medications are crazy though. They are crazy. I looked at the price of my concentrics. Woo, I don't even want to say how much that shit is now. It ain't what I've been saying, I'll tell you that. It's like, damn, that shit's expensive. Now you got that costs so much, but if I want to go get this other stuff, it's free. Just come on down. Yeah, Divine One Network. Yes, supposedly the sixth sun came in today. I agree. I talked about that. Yes, it did. Today was the day, or yesterday was the day out of time. So, yes, it also was the day out of time. And so, yeah, the sixth sun came in. So that could have been why it seemed like a simulator to me. But yes, according to the Mayan, that is the beginning of the sixth sun. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was why they were so panicked on 2012. They didn't know what to expect. They really kind of thought something would blow all this shit up. But it's coming. It's definitely coming. Yep, that was another part of the celebration today, of the energies that anybody can touch into too. That is something that I mentioned last night. And that's why I did a little bit, if you go back and catch this, I did, I brought out a couple more sound bowls because I do sound every day now. Instead of saving the sound just for the full moons, I do the sounds every day. So I don't do as much as I did today, but I basically bring in the sounds every day. Plus it clears energy, stirs energies around here. And I put my protections up and my grounding because I don't want to get too flighty either. I need to stay grounded to try to put the information out because if I get too flighty, my information gets flighty. But I will give out again the crystal of the evening because the full moons are still going is citrine. Now this is an interesting one. This is my oldest pure citrine, and I show this periodically. But as you see, this also has the smoky. So the cap is smoky. And I don't know if this will rainbow sometimes, but it's also smoky. So it also has the energy of citrine with the smoky possibilities as well. And so this is Robert Simmons, Big Book of Stones. There's a newer edition in this one. I've had this for quite some time. In general, the deeper amber and orange again, which means that they could be treated. Much of our, let me see, is that where she picks it up? I'll read what he says. Citrine opens the doors to increase clarity of thought, enhance creativity, magnified powers of will and manifestation. It is one of the premier stones for the second chakras, capable of awakening the powers of the creative imagination in the most unconscious individuals. Imagination, as Einstein said, is more important than knowledge. Knowledge refers to facts, conditions, or principles already known and thus rooted in the past. Thought, knowledge alone, there can be repetition only, no creativity. The creative power of human beings and all beings are rooted in imagination. Before someone could create the laser beam, the sonnet, or even a souffle, it had to be imagined. Imagination is means by which one turns toward the time stream from the future, opening self beyond what has been into the realm of what can be. Citrine in both natural and heated form stimulates imagination through three portholes, the second and third chakras. the second, third, and sixth, excuse me. The vibratory resonance of citrine activates the harmonizers and harmonizes these energy centers, all which are necessary in the process of creative imagination. Through the sixth chakra, the third eye, citrine thinking process enhances mental clarity as well as visionary function, the process of image making. Till one has the image, one cannot build the invention. And I've talked about Tesla before being able to think of machines and then put the CAD in his mind. The computer aided drafting, he could do that in his mind. And he could put the machine, recognize every part, small or not, every nut and bolt, and watch it move in his imagination, in his knowing. And then when we would go down and scale it on the blueprint, he would, everything. Wouldn't miss a bolt, wouldn't miss a screw. Citrine stimulates the creative function, the wellspring from which new potentials are born. It is fitting that this chakra is also the sexual energy center, the source of both times of conception, imaginal and biological. The third chakra, the solar plex, citrine generates the human dynamo of personal will. It is said that great accomplishments are 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. The energy that sustains one through the grunt work of manifesting one creative idea is that of the will. Without this third component, ideas can fizzle out before they come to fruition. Citrine strengthens the third chakra through that and can readily dig down and find the persistent to make it happen. It works with halidor, golden labradorite, and imperial topaz. Can also be added with these. Also, zincite, orange calcite, and carnelian. And let's see what is Natasha says much of our experience on the earth plane is gained from our attempts to transform our dreams and wishes into physical tangibility. This is the process of manifestation, creating form or experience from this energetic blueprint of thoughts and beliefs and desires. Citrine is our foremost ally in the process of manifestation. And it's also called the store of the keepers or the merchant stone, because a lot of I've been to Chinese restaurants where you'll see a piece of citrine in their drawers, the change drawers, the money drawers. And so a lot of people, instead of like American, a lot of people put the first dollar. Some will put, instead of $1, they'll put a piece of citrine. Citrine enables us to open fully to the energy of the divine will and path of love. By resonating with citrine, we are reminded that we are loved and supported by the universe in our efforts toward manifestation. One chooses the path of love and joy, opening to the power of the divine will. Citrine supports us bringing forth what is truly beautiful. This is a tremendous difference between the appearance of orange yellow heat treated, commonly found on the market, and smoky, golden natural. Natural citrine carries a powerful frequency that allows for the clearing and strengthening of manifestation channel one's personal will. Its purifying property comes from the natural smoky quartz energy combined with the stimulating fire energy it carries. The phantoms that often appear in natural citrine will allow one to connect to one's higher self, so one can focus on manifesting these creations most aligned with one's highest good. So again, just as I recharge these, I don't mind sending this energy out to you as well, and hope that everything you try to manifest comes to pass, and that you find joy in the things that you manifest on this night of where most people practice the full moon energies. So this is for you. Hope that helped. I don't know what calendar, but in another calendar, we would be 2012 right now and not 2021. Well, not in the Mayan calendar, we wouldn't. So I'd have to look that one up. Hey, Crazy Sarge. Oh, I'm smooth, of course. I'm smooth. Have you heard the story during the 1870s, which printing was an inefficient unit One man went home one day and mapped out the solution of his ceiling through his imagination. Interesting. Hmm. Well, that's how I was saying with Tesla. Tesla's one of the first people that had that ability to put a machine together and could see the machine working. And the History Channel and the aliens shit like, well, that's alien. No, that's just a smart motherfucker. And so doesn't have to do anything with aliens. Just this smart person is able to. Um, it's like I met one person in my life that had, it's called something different now, but it used to be called photographic memory. I met one person that he could tell you everything that he'd ever done and remembered it all. He's passed now, of course, but everything. Like Poppy McDonald, maybe she had a show where she was a detective and she could remember every detail. She'd look around, they'd do the matrix camera, and she could technically remember every detail she would see. And I thought that was kind of clever to let people kind of see that, because people exist like that in the world. They remember everything. My grandmother was, I can't say that, but when my grandmother was in her late 80s, I could show her a picture, and damn if she couldn't tell me everything that she did on that day. I had a picture of it. I've since lost it, but she had went to Mackinac Island as a young woman, but still a wife. She had my oldest aunt, and my grandmother herself was in her early 20s, but she remembered the drive going up to Mackinac. The picture is from where she's on an island or on the boat, on the ferry, taking you over to Mackinac Island. And she told me the whole story going up, going over there. I mean, it was just interesting that she could remember something that had happened 50 years before, and with such clarity in little things. So that's the good thing about doing mental exercises and keeping your mind right. That's the good thing. Working on it. That's why working now. It's you should never have to look for things. Okay, I guess I'm gonna learn. Hmm. But and maybe people can identify with this. There's a cloaking energy that can get around you that'll cloak your shit. And that's a silly energy that you have to run off, but it's an energy that will cloak shit. I don't know if anybody's else experienced that, but until I really got my shit together, I used to have that thing. But once I was like, okay, I know how to get rid of this thing and know myself and put everything where it's supposed to be. And so um, it's like I was looking for like the spoon I used yesterday to mix this drink. I couldn't find my little silver spoon. I'm like, wow. But basic things that I use every day, yeah, they're in the same spot. Uh, yeah, I got that bullshit 31 now and still can't tell how to breathe. Wow. Wow, okay. I'm sorry to hear that, Key. Yeah, it is. It's on you to help cure yourself. It is definitely on you. It is definitely on you to help cure yourself. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. It's on you to make yourself like I remember when my mother was sick recently, and she kept saying, "I just don't feel right." And yeah, eventually she really did. But it's kind of like that's a mental thing. And then you got all this going on now, and you know, uh, parents. This is going out to parents. How many parents, when your child got a little sick, all this fear went through your head because that's the fear program put in you, or if anybody, even your parents or family members, that's the first thing you're thinking about. Uh-oh, dun 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 dun. That's how we're conditioned. That's why you could tell a lot of this was a money grab and a psyop, because it's dun 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 dun. And that was going into the conversation I had with my mother about cancer and shit. It's like, why am I going to put more of this poison in me? All this poison in the water, in the air, in the food. Why would I put more poison and go through more pain? Or like the young comic said, dad goes in there and the doctor says he has cancer and he says, no, I don't. He says, Dad, beat it without drugs. Changing lifestyle. And that's the thing. You go in there, you ain't got shit. And the doctor tells you you got this thing. But like my mother was saying, aren't you a fighter? Wouldn't you want to fight? Wouldn't you want those 20 more years? At what price? What price? I'm taking this poison so my family can see me around. And who says if I don't want to take the poison, I'm not fighting? Who says I'm not fighting? You would still be fighting. Just trying to find more natural ways to do it. You feel me? And I'm not saying, the way I think is I'm going to be 60 in about 30 some days. So I've had a long, joyful life. So who would I be to get 20 more years? Who would that be for me? That I have to poison myself to extend my life? Now, I've said this before. My grandfather had brain cancer for 20 years. And for about 15, he was okay. 15 years, he was sick, but he was basically okay. But they told him he's only going to live 6 months. He lived for 20 years. And the last time I talked to him, he had a nickname for all of us. And he called me Tubby. And as soon as I walked in, he woke up, he looked at me, he's like, Tubby. And this is something I used to do too. I would go in there and see him. Maybe he would wake up one day. And I would still sit there and have my lunch and spend time with him. Just to be in his presence while he was around. Because he was a brilliant man. Talented, very talented man. So who are you doing something for? That's, and again, it's your decision. But that was just how I was looking at it. It's like, why would I do all that? Now look at my situation now. I'm not anti-vax. I took the shingle shit last year because I have 2 close relatives that went through this nerve pain. And I've had chicken pox. So those odds are fairly good that it could hit me this time of my life. So it's not like I'm against this shit. But that was only a year ago. And then I take this Concentrix every month. And then I'm told, well, don't take it. Let's see how this does. Don't take it. You just come do this, but don't do that. So that might help me breathe better in the long run, but it's not going to help my pain at all. Make that make sense. So I'm going to be in pain, but I'll breathe better. So I'm good. I have noticed YouTube has been showing up to pyramid UFOs a lot. My recommendation, even though I never look it up. Well, that's the thing they want to bring out. They're going to create that. That comes from the NASA Nazis. And that's what they want to bring out. I mean, when you heard the government saying, well, these are pictures that we will confirm, they're about to bring something out. And it's going to be the wonder. Either they're going to bring a wonder drug or a wonder weapon. I mean, think about it. If they've had that kind of contact, these people couldn't wait. How can we blow the people we don't like up? How can we kill our working slaves faster? That's kind of how they look at it. What can we do to get rid of our working slaves? So this is a agenda. It's an agenda that they're going to bring out. So in the next year or two, don't be surprised. What was that? Didn't occur or anything. I don't know. Somebody threw something somewhere. Edward, in the movie The Equalizer 2, he says, there's the pain and that hurts, and the pain that's alters. There you go, Edward. Says there's the pain that hurts and the pain that alters. What did she say in Lucy? When she stabbed the dude in his hand, the Kuza dude, she says, all you know is pain. You're not thinking any other strategy but this pain. Because she put them two hands in his two knives in his hands. Now, true spy would be thinking how to counter that. Kind of hard to counter with knives in your hands and she's on top of you. But do you see the point? You can be trained. Now, you can be trained to ignore pain to a certain extent. But yeah, the pain that alters. There you go. It's a good way to put it. Good catch. Very good catch. Ernestine, thank you for joining me. I am well. Timelessness to you and wellness to you and your family. Everybody, wellness to everybody. If I haven't said that, I please forgive me, because that's the true thing of solutions that I try to come up with too, is how can we all experience timelessness, which is good timing or your timing, and how to recognize those patterns, and wellness, how to make you as well as you can be, well mentally as well. Soldiers are trained to combative, spies are trained to win. That's an excellent way to say. It says soldiers are trained to be combative, spies are trained to win. There you go. Keep thinking, countering. Keep thinking, countering. That's why I love to fight. I'd like to see how hard the dude could hit, because I knew I could counter him. Because most dudes, when they fought, they would leave themselves open. Sending that love out. That is so. Love is all we need. All we need is love. Love is all we need. I do want to keep practicing. Thoughts on U.S. military? It's kind of a vague question, but what I see is, and what has happened historically, is the poor fight. The poor fight. We can even go back into the Revolutionary War. We can definitely go into the Civil War. You know, the Civil War, you could pay a dude to take your place in the North. In the North, you could pay a poor person that would go instead of you going. You got to stay home. You paid the government that spot. You got a poor person that would go instead of you. So the poor people have fought all the wars. We had poor people that were food because of a territory got attacked. And I've said this a million times. Why would a good old boy in Alabama that his whole life will never go to Hawaii, why would he care? Why would he care? And you see what the government did to make people care and make people join up like they never did. Let's remember, people joined up for Vietnam. People joined up for Vietnam. Like when I see Military Day on Facebook, the people I know, poor. Because this is what happens to a lot of young men. You seeing people around you go somewhere. Go to college, go somewhere. Here you are stuck at home. You don't go anywhere. So a lot of people say, well, the only way I'm going to get to see some shit is joining the military. And watch that. Netflix had the thing, Ken Burns thing on Vietnam. And one of the European dudes says, murder becomes normalized. That's pretty much what he says. It's you get used to killing. You get used to killing. Now take that in the streets that we see in Minneapolis or we see across the country in 15-year-olds. After a 15-year-old see a bunch of people killed, maybe he's killed somebody. Killing becomes normalized. Now, can you have a career in the military? Absolutely. Will they train you? Absolutely. Like I was saying with the Desert Storm stuff, with the young man getting his legs blowed off. He was in country for a month. He was in the military less than a year before he got his legs blowed off. but he got the artificial legs, and they gave him a house and a job. So a lot of that Desert Storm shit was for mechanical parts, artificial parts, getting people used to these artificial parts. The $1 Million Man. So I don't know if that answered you. Stuck at home's the best option. It really is. You can add me to that poor list. Okay, Crazy Sarge. My uncle, both my uncles, one of my uncles, well, one of my cousins, again, went into Vietnam. My uncle went into Vietnam, went to the Navy, my father's brother. My father he says he talked his way of getting out. He got the crazy thing, so he didn't have to go. Plus, he shouldn't have had to go, and my stepfather didn't have to go because he was married and had children. So he got the deferment, like Joe Frazier did, which I didn't understand how Ali didn't get the deferment, but Joe Frazier did. Because Ali adopted his first wife's child. So Ali technically should have got the deferment for being a parent with a child, like Joe Frazier got, but Ali didn't. Ali didn't. Back in 91, what saved me from going to the Iraq was right shin fracture that I experienced my 4th week of basic training. Whoa, okay. Especially with social media, the young people syndrome of trying to fit in when they see other dudes going somewhere exacerbates that shit. Yeah, absolutely. But again, look at Facebook, and I'm looking at the people I know, and I'm like, poor. I have one person, and I knew him his whole life, and he went to West Point. And so I think he made captain or above. My 2 cousins, one flew jets, and the other was a navigator, and both of them career officers. Again, they went to college for free because they were poor. They went to college for free. They went through ROTC. Both of them went to the Air Force out of Michigan State, ROTC. Yep. I mean, I tested. I told the story before. To go to Fort Knox, they paid $900, and you got to train for 9 weeks. That seemed a great idea to get the money. I had a girlfriend in California at the time, so I was going to take my check, fly out to California, spend a couple of weeks with her, and then fly back before I had to go to camp, football camp. But when they told me when basic training was for the Air Force, it was the middle. I was going to miss 2 weeks of double days, and I was never played. So, looking back, I could have had that career and went in an officer, and it would have given me a little disciplined studying probably. But, to play, my scholarship at the time was to the football team. So, and they were going to put me through the ROTC program to pay for my college. They were going to do that. But, I still had football dreams. West Point is one of the grooming centers for the deep state, besides Yale, Harvard, and Oxford. Of course, add Annapolis. You could add Annapolis to that too. Annapolis would be the Air Force Academy, same way. And this guy, I guess I didn't say that, he played football 4 years too. Yeah, the guy I'm talking about played football for 4 years. Some bullshit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this guy's pretty deep. But he did a little fighting, and I was so happy to find him because I lost track of what happened to him. I saw a picture in the paper, but I know I think he went to Afghanistan and he went to Iraq. Yep. Raise. Well, dollars wise, I am poor, but mentally I am one of the 1% because I got many people I can also help. That's a good point. I'm the same way. I'm not rich by any means. I got the oldest car out here of all these cars. My car is an 05 Freestyle. But it runs, it gets me where I want to go. As long as I keep it in repair, I'm good with it. Dudes went to Vietnam for war just to come back and have older folks tell them their war wasn't as violent as World War II and tell them it was a waste of time. Well, the difference was just like my great uncle. My great uncle went with Patton to Africa. He fought through Africa. He fought in Sicily. He fought in Italy. He fought in France. He fought in Belgium. He fought in Normandy. And then he went all the way to Germany. with the Third Army, under which was taken over by Umar Bradley, and then Patton was given back. No, I take it back. My uncle would have had to go into the Seventh Cavalry, the seventh, yeah, because that's what they gave Patton that went to Africa was the Seventh Cavalry. What's his name? Custer's original number was put on him, and so, and then he stayed with Bradley when they busted Patton. He still stayed with Bradley, and it was called the Colored Support Group. It was a colored. He was infantry for the colored tank drivers. So he was infantry, but he was with the tank drivers and the truck movers. So, yep. Hey, Brandon, thank you for joining me. Chicago weather has been in the 80s the past week, and now it's dropping down to the 50s. They have to manipulate the crazy weather. That's what I was talking about. It was Monday, it was 83. Yesterday, it was 86. Today, it was 55. Tomorrow, it's going to be like today, it's going to be 50. And as it went down, since I read this about 10 minutes ago, has it went down yet? See if it's still 55. So it's still 55. It's going to start raining anytime. And when that rain comes in, it's going to drop it tremendously. It's going to be back to June weather tomorrow. For the little bit I got to go out, it's going to be June weather. So, yeah, it doesn't make any difference. But then it's going to, get decent for the holiday. Because, this is one of the holidays. If you look back, it rained almost all Memorial Days. Memorial Day is one of the one days where it fucking rains almost every one. So, looks like it's not going to rain. Seems like every other year it rains on Memorial Day, so you always got to have a tip. But this is kind of the bringing in the summer holiday. So, and that's one of the few holidays that we created, and we do have something to mourn because the experience in America has been a motherfucker. My old 2004 was my ride or die. She wouldn't survive that roller accident. She rest in peace. Wow. Okay. I saw somebody on Facebook that had like a 7 or 8 wagon, and those wagons that they made, that Taurus car, you still see them. I mean that body style, which was like the jelly bean body style almost. You still see them. You still see them cars kind of rolling. These freestyle, they're all over. I could buy them. I could get parts. So that's what I like about them. PJ says it was 90 the other day here in Ohio. Saturday it'll be 57. Woo! Yeah, the rain. Yeah, sounds like it's raining now. I can't tell. Hope it rains a week straight in the first week of July. I know you guys will get that heat. You guys will get that heat. But yeah, that's like. But it was like when I went out Monday. I was outside. I could feel the cool weather coming in as it was changing. Well, no, last night. Last night when I was doing the connecting with the moon energies, I could feel the colder winds coming in. And so as I was communicating with the weather spirit, it was it would touch me with the warmer weather, which was quite interesting because I was just getting a lot of cold coming through. So it's kind of interesting. So yeah. Well, let me read the divination. And we should be day 19. 13 platoons, 0 platoons, 8 tunes, 9 uno, and day 19, which I'm pretty sure I am right. Let's see what the Mayans say. They say you're right, and the energy would be from the west. Kawak. Let's see. And 19 is, yes, the energy is going to be from the west. Storm element, thundercloud, thunder beam, transformation that precedes full realization, into shock. And this is the older name. This has been one of the names that the omen would use is shock. And again, this is another representation of the shock energy. And that's from the Codex Laud. See if I can catch the other one. Probably not going to be able to find it. Oh. It would have been whoops. This would also be a consideration of the shock energy. Here, giving the corn water directly from the god, whatever that fruit that is. This is the Codex Dresden, which is the oldest of all of them. And I'm not going to find what I'm looking for, but something's caught my eye. Here's another one. The rain god, Shock. This might be out of Dresden. Yeah, this is out of the book I just showed. That's another example. And okay, this is one of my favorite cards. It's almost what we just showed you. Kuato, or rain. This card we see Kuato, the deity of the rain. In one hand, he holds a serpent that represents the flash of lightning. In the other, an axe that represents the strike of lightning. We also see the drops of water. At the top, we see the 19, a bowl containing the corn seed that represents fertility, Tlak, the superior deity of water, which both Kuato and Ato are a representation of. For the Toltec psychology, the water represents the mind, the serpent to symbolize the body, and the axe represents the identity or personality. The broader meaning of Kuato is action, of nurturing and fertilizing something that will bear fruit for a future harvest. This card tells you that your dream is getting closer and closer, but the seeds of your dream need nurturing action to achieve their destiny. At the moment, you may be experiencing anxiety about the results you want to achieve, but everything is a process, and one stage cannot happen before the previous stage has been completed. This means that there is no harvest without the previous planting of the seed and watering of the land. You need the spiritual power of the rain to do this in your life. Start by being aware that you've already planted the seeds of what you are striving for. You have made some progress already, but these seeds need to be nurtured so they can grow and yield their fruit in future harvests. The message of Kuato is about watering. It's also about timing. Don't make the mistake of judging your results by what you are seeing at the moment, because the process isn't completed. While the time of the harvest is getting closer, it has not yet arrived. Do not think you have failed, but know that you will fail if you don't take care of the following up of your dreams or of the project. At the deeper level, this card is telling you that within yourself, you have the power to nurture. Perhaps you are not acknowledging it and using it the way it needs to be used. By imitating Kuato, the deity of the rain, you have the life energy that is needed for anything to grow. Don't be shy or underestimate your power. Identify what your seeds are and what is to train what you have planted them. Then let your life energy flow through your appropriate actions into the land, into those seeds can evolve, and you can get a rich harvest. And so, as you know, I give freely. Some practices. Am I being exposed to new ideas? Is my mind stagnating in old thinking patterns? What could I do to open myself up to the new ideas and perspectives? How can I open up to new ideas that are coming at me? Am I afraid to accept a new way of thinking out of the need to hang on to what is familiar to me? How is it important for me to be open to new ideas on your profession? And so I give that freely to everyone. And yeah. I forgot I had this book, and I showed this book. I don't know if I've showed this book on this channel, but I showed this book on my other channel. And it's Signs, Symbols, Source Book. And I mean, This has everything. Manly Hall is a good reference for crosses and stuff. So the book of, I think it's Manly Hall's Book of Everything. But this book, if it ever came across, I mean, it gets to what the trees, um, um, yeah, the symbols of the trees, the symbols of fruit, the symbols of flower. It just every symbol you can think of. This is a great reference when you're doing research. And again, you can see this was Barnes and Noble, but Signs and Symbols source book. So great reference to when you're researching, just like this symbol here, the great C. That symbol right there gives them authority over document of discovery. They think they own everything in the universe and every soul under that sign right there, the great C. So as I research and it just can, I come across things like runes. They got the rune stones here. They don't, the different kind of alphabets, um, alphabet of Horanus, which is a witch's alphabet. I mean, this has it. Um, if you look at the Lambereth, which is also a 666 kind of symbol as well. The scorpion and the swastika with the eyes behind the swastika. Can you see the eyes? That's how it's properly supposed to be. Which also symbolizes motion, but it also symbolizes 10,000. Every number, like we just did 19. Numerologically, 1 plus 9 equals 10, which was related to 1. So 19 has much the same symbolism by default as the two previous figure. This is reflected in the Islamic notion that 19 is numerological value of the wide, which means 1, which is the name of the source. Similarly, the number of letters in the Arabic phrase is the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. 19 has special power. It's a prime number, divided by only itself in 1. Moreover, because it is made up of the first single number and the last number, there's a feeling of completion about it, a beginning and the end. In the Kabbalah, 19 is the number of spiritual activity. The Jewish calendar is based around the number 19 because there's a 19 cycle of the moon in relation to the sun. A full moon occurred roughly the same date every 19 years. The Babylonians, too, were aware of the 19-year cycle. In the Tarot, 19 is the number of the sun, again referring to close association with the number 1. Also masculine, solar number, all the goodness associated with the sun, happiness, honor, success, courage, are all qualities belongs symbolically to the number 19. And this is, the Mayans counted in the 20s. And that's a symbol for 20. Well, 5, 10, 15, 20. Or moving, but that's a symbol for 20. And then this goes into the tarot, the numbers. I mean, it's just a great research because people will call me and like, man, what do you see? So this is a pretty great resource, very cheap. Barnes and Noble has it. So, and you come across things. It's great that you have those type of resources that you can look to and say, okay, I see what this is, especially out in the world. Because this stuff is everywhere. You don't think they're still practicing this stuff. This stuff is everywhere. So keep that in mind, that you could be hit with all this. It's like you should recognize when you come across Masons and they start, like Masons will shake their hand a certain way. They'll shake your hand to see. But you should be, you see people, if they're shooting you signals and stuff, like, aha, because that's kind of what happens. It's like my dad and them mumble talking. Remember, wait till you see my dick, the mumble kind of talking. Well, that used to be the way brothers would communicate when they was around Europeans. They would kind of mumble to each other. I remember my dad, I just remember just hanging with my dad and seeing brothers do this my whole life. But I remember my dad trying to explain it to somebody and what everything meant. But that was the way that brothers would talk around Europeans, so Europeans wouldn't know, so they'd kind of mumble to each other. And they would know what each other say. People hearing it, they just they talking jive or some code. But that is a type of communication too. So be aware of that. As I mentioned last time I went to traffic court, I'm seeing this lawyer and this judge just back and forth, signing back and forth to each other. And then this woman that had killed somebody driving didn't get hardly nothing. And I'm like, look at this shit. Yeah, she paid a lawyer. She had some kind of money, but I'm like, look at this, all this unspoken communication that made sure she landed on her feet. So this is the world. So you see people and they do something. When you walk by them, they're trying to see if you're traveling with them. Are you a traveler? Remember in Rosewood, the mason that beat up the poor white trash girl? Remember? And he went to the brother. It was like, "Are you a fellow traveler?" to get out of there. And the brother's like, "Yeah." And then that brother regretted that at the end because they whooped his. He was the first one they whooped his ass. And you know what he said? He was like, "Well, why did you help him get away?" He's like, "He was a mason." And then you had the lady from Good Times saying, it wasn't no brother that got her. She was cheating on us, and then she got hit with a rock. Did you guys see that LeBron James is going to do the Tulsa thing on CNN? Did y'all see him and Maverick Carter? They're doing a special on the Tulsa thing. You know, that race stuff all again, you know. It's like of all the things you could put together, this is what you got to put together to remind us that when we fight them, we lose. that's what Tulsa really is about. You can't fight us, you'll lose. I know that I know they know I ain't in that shit. I be trying to die most time. I don't like that transfer of energy. That's a good point, Key. Very good point. Very good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, that's some people don't consider. That's the thing with touching somebody. You could transfer unless you have the protections up. And you know, this last year we ain't really been dapping. Remember, they wanted to put the elbow bump even in the NCAA championship game. Dude forgot. So dude is elbow bumping in the first half. In the second half, he backed to just what I took it to him. You elbow bumped in the first half, but by the time it got competitive, and I think the dude lost, I'm thinking about he wasn't elbow bumping anymore. So that programming went away pretty fast. Let's do another exercise for those that want to participate. You don't have to, but those that do. Like I said, I'm probably going to come on early tomorrow. I do need another day off, but I might do another early show just to work with equipment. Let me see. I want to send out quick messages. So just a sentence or two. And I'm not going to do another love one. I know the last one too been love, so I'm not going to let anybody cheat. I want you to really, really see if you come into this. All righty. All right. So Crazy Sarge, if you're still watching, so if you want to participate, you can draw something like this. Ink pen is enough. You don't have to make it this big. And all I'm asking that you do is give me your intention and a little bit of attention. This is going to be tricky. Oh, I did it. Okay. And I'll send the energy out. And so, You might not necessarily. So yeah, Crazy Sarge, if you can amplify, I'm going to be putting the message out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. I wrote it down, put the date, and you might even hear this on television or you might hear it on the radio. It's kind of hard to say how you receive it. I don't know. But I'd like to see next time I come on if anybody receives what I put out there. So, again, I give freely. I like to put energy out there. Again, something like this can be scribed. You can scribe with something as simple as that. You don't have to get a mirror, but mirror is going to amplify it way stronger. But it's a way that the Americans have communicated that the energy's here. And I want to talk about that too. So, how do I want to? I'll go like this. There are natural energies in America that have always been in America. And the way this information has been passed on is it's almost like there's a natural net in the air, like through the ethers. I mean, this energy can naturally get passed on if you can tap into it. It's like this whole system of all this, all this comes really from the time walking information that I received from Turtle Gang. But I've turned it, I didn't just stop there. I kept finding where this information comes from and how to enhance it. And I'm saying, just like I say, that the date, this is a date that goes back millions of years. There's stillies that you can go look at, and it's got millions of years back of this type of counting. So this type of counting is before the Julius Caesar's system that we use today. I mean, that's the idea of even Hanukkah. There's nothing really from a Western standpoint that's equal to it. And of course, if you've played any kind of game, you've practiced the hero twin. You didn't practice the Cain and Abel, hate your brother. You've practiced, you work with your brother. So do you see the difference in the psychology? One system tells you that it's you against your brother. I'm jealous. God likes my brother a little better than me, so rock upside the head. Stoned him. Then had the nerve to go in front of God and say, God's like, hey, where your brother at? I don't know. I think he's with the hoe around the corner, God. I don't know where he's. And God smelling's like, no. And didn't smite him. All these other motherfuckers he smites, he let this motherfucker go. And they say that the horn being, it's also a kind of a way to look at Marduk too. Because Marduk is the one that's supposed to have the emerald, the same way that Cain's supposed to have the horn. But if you've played any kind of sport, then it's in you to be one of the hero twins. We rock with our brother, no matter what. We fight the gods together. My brother joins me, we gonna go fight the gods. You cut my head off, my brother throw a pumpkin on it, we still going after him. I'll give that out. Okay, it's coming in. I'll definitely give it out. And as you see, I put on the tablet there, reverser of the world. That's my goal, is to be the reverser of this world, this matrix, this simulation. And it's funny, it's the simulation isn't even fair. Because do you know how hard it is to go through day every day and knowing that people around you ain't really real? None of this is really real. And I used to say this on, okay, this is really how it is. I said this on my other channel a lot. So those of you that saw my other channel, you've heard this. But it appears, and this is just appears. It appears like I'm sitting here in front of this computer. And whichever way you're getting it, it appears like you're sitting there. The building I live in is a 4-unit. Technically, there's nothing that separates me from the people that live under me. And it goes the same way of this neighborhood, about 300 people. We appear to be living in houses. It's nighttime. We appear to be sleeping. But if you look at it from a matrix standpoint, you could see the wireframe, and it's just people sitting in space. It's just people sitting in space. And it's a hell of a weird thing to look in the neighborhood and you just see the people just sitting in these places where they think this is a house. They think there's rooms. They think there's couches and beds, when it's just you're in space. And they've tricked you somewhat to give some substance to this space. Brandon says, doesn't Biden look strange? He looks strange all the time. He looks very strange. He does. They're wearing masks. I think the early Biden was Tom Hanks. I think when he spoke in front of both houses, that was Tom Hanks. I think a lot of times it's a couple dudes playing Biden, just like it was more than one Donald Trump. I told the story. My son saw Donald Trump at the Amazon Center, and he saw another Donald Trump by the bus smoking a cigarette. So there was a couple Donald, and Dick Gregory was the first to say that. Which Trump? So they got a bunch of dudes playing Biden. That Biden that we were seeing before couldn't remember shit. And they ain't trying to make you feel sorry for him. That motherfucker wasn't remembering shit. That motherfucker, what, 200 years old? He the oldest president ever. Now I get it. Reverse of the world. That's dope. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Overstand. But that's the idea, is to change this. Because once fear goes away, what else can they hit you with? I mean, this has been the biggest fear program and a purge. I mean, they want you scared about, getting this thing, but old people were purged. Max from Australia, he was one of the only few that was noticed that old people around the world got purged. And there was a lot of that and purposeful. Getting these people off the books, getting them off pension, getting them off Medicare. So what we saw was one of the biggest purges of old people. People, like I've said here, when the thing hit here, it went to the north side of town, but it went to a rest place. How is that possible? A place that gets cleaned more than most places would get cleaned. Because isn't that what they want to say? That it came from not getting cleaned? Spraying shit, Clorox and shit. Do you remember when this shit first hit? These poor people working at the stores, every person, you got to put these chemicals in the air. What do you think that's going to do to people? Kind of, I'm changing the subject a little bit, but what do you think that's going to do to people? People taking groceries, and every person, they got to put these chemicals out. And you work an 8-hour shift, and you are exposed to all this chemical. You don't think that's going to harm people? It's like Demita Miles said. She was one of my guests on my other show. How does a virus think like that? Well, like, I'm not going to bother anybody but these old people in this rest home. Seems like something they sent in there. If you look at it, that's the way they do it. Somebody took that shit in there and passed it amongst them. Because it ain't just going to land right there. So, something to consider. That's something to consider. Not as hot under the lights as I thought I would be. I was worried about wearing this damn wool hat. And Nick Taylor, if you ever see this, you can't bend this, baby. This is a piece of art. You wouldn't paint over a Mona Lisa, so you would never break this. You would never break that. You got to keep it stiff. Come on, baby. This is a piece of art. You don't defy by breaking it. Buy one already bent like that. Buy one already bent. Don't break these kind down. Well, thank you, Sebastian. That's very kind. That's very kind for you to say. That is very kind. And so I guess, in conclusion, know you. Know you. Because when it comes down to it, know you and know the moment. Because the moment is all you have. Like I was just talking to my mother. One thing she can't do is she worries about shit. She can't detach from like work. And so it hurts her sleeping patterns. But one thing I told her, and this goes out to everybody. One thing you have to understand is, okay, say you can't sleep. If you laying down, you still resting. If you are laying down, you're still resting. So a lot of times you may not get sleep, but you've laid down for 8 hours. Now the dude from Nepal used to say, I couldn't get any good sleep. But resting for that amount of time is just as beneficial. So keep that in mind. If you don't, because just look at it. Like I got up. I can't sleep myself. Sebastian. I've never required a lot of sleep. My ex would tell you. Max was like, we would stay up all night and you'd get 1 or 2 hours of sleep and that alarm would go off. You jump up, take your shower, eat, and take off. She's like, I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you did it. It's like you never would get up sleepy or lazy. I've been telling people, yeah, you got to rest. So long as you are resting, you are pretty much okay. Rest. Now, if you want to sit up, that's okay. But get the rest. Now, sometimes it does help to read or something like that. But still, if you do read or watch TV, make sure you're laying down so you still accumulate rest. So that's a little easy trick. Yeah. I used to date this girl. I used to tell her, don't worry about it, baby. Just lay down. You'll be fine. Just don't get up, lay down. And then she'd come back after the day. She's like, you were right. I didn't sleep well, but I still rested and it helped. Right, there you go. So that's a little hint. J. Cole's new album, he says that death, how did he put it? Death is or sleep is the cousin of death or something like that. It's J. Cole's very interesting lines, but he says sleep is the cousin of death or something like that on his new album. Is that new album I enjoy. I enjoy almost every song. But and then Mo Ray's new song. Oh my goodness, you gotta love it. You gotta love Mo Ray's new song. His writing skills are just let me see what's it called. Nowadays, I think. Now here we go. Nothing Now. Mo Ray, Nothing Now. Oh, okay. I wanted to say that. Beast. Now I don't know if Mo Ray sold his soul or not. I don't know. But if he hasn't, you can't have him. I'm going to make that proclamation tonight. If something happened to him, we're going to know who to look at. We know that's a hit by the beast. Now, if he sold his soul, then that's on him. But if he hasn't made any agreement and something happened to him, we know it's the beast. We know it's the beast. So this one we ain't gonna ignore. We ain't gonna think he just happenstance to come on some kind of ill fate. Again, if he sold his soul already, that's on him. But if he hasn't, oh, and Moray, quit saying no cap after every word you say. Every word, no cap. Every story, no cap. Come on. You sound, there should be a saying they call people Bamas. You sound like a Bama. People have been saying cap for the last 4 or 5 years. So this is one we got our eye on, Beast. Again, if he sold his soul to get what he got now, then hey, you got it. But if he didn't, we're going to look right at you, Beast. Because last time I checked, we don't sell our soul to do this. Even if you pay, it's a job. His job is to rap. Now, you have a machine. Did you make that Gundam style dude sell his soul? Did he have to sell his soul? Because nothing came after Gundam style. Hell, they had him in a commercial last year. Again, doing that same stupid shit. So he's a one-trick pony. So we're going to look at this one a little different, Beast. So I did this disclaimer. If he sold his soul, I watch your channel. It's like food for the soul, and I always sleep good. Well, I'm glad you do. That gives me joy. Thank you. That is so kind of you to say. I like both albums of Cole and Moray are in rotation. Yeah, I play this new song though. Like you can tell the production. I got a friend on Facebook. She was on another channel. She got me understanding the full production experience because they would critique songs. And yeah, this new song, his production is way up there. Because after Quicksand, he released 2-3 songs that the production wasn't quite the same. This new song, he hits out the park with the production. Key, that can't believe it's time. That can't believe it's time. Just doesn't sit right with me. That can't believe it's time just doesn't sit with me. I got you, Key. Can't believe it's time. And his new line that he says with J. Cole, yeah, it's my life. Yeah. And, let's be honest, J. Cole has probably sold his soul. I can't say, but possibly. And then I think 21 Savage is on the song with Moray and J. Cole. He obviously has sold his. So what do they say? The company you keep. But if he hasn't made that agreement, we're going to look at this thing different and know you going after. Well, we already know they're killing rappers left and right. That is one of the most deadly businesses for young men to be in right now. And it's Jonathan. And please, somebody say his channel because I can't think of it. But Jonathan broke down 103 rappers get killed last year. That's not coincidence. It's a type of genocide. It's a type of organized killing of these people. Back in the 90s, early 2000s, they used to say cap or capping as meaning that you trying to have a nightcap with a female. That's not how it's used today. Yeah, it's not. It's not. Absolutely, it's not. Yeah, capping. Yeah, I remember that. Exactly. Because there was a time where when you went in the bar, that was the beautiful thing about the 70s and the disco era. If you went in the bar, you was going to go home with somebody. That was just kind of an agreement by both sides. And there's people that from living like that, they're still together with people. But that is kind of how the free love thing came. You kind of knew you'd get lucky just by going out. Do you think they're still trafficking organs? Are there still organs? Are there still organs? They ain't never stopping that. Yeah. There's a dude that broke down all that J. Cole album covers and showed all the satanic parts of the picture. So might have sold out. Yeah, okay. I'm not surprised. And I think you've mentioned that before. And yeah, probably has. And he had a movie. Remember, J. Cole had a movie. He had a movie of his first album. So very much could be. Overstand. Please excuse me. Is purgatory real? Wow, my son was here, and I want to sit down and have him break it down because he breaks it down the best. But Wes Paneri's paper talks about, he calls it the middle passage or the middle place or the place you learn how to be dead, where you can look up your Akashic records. Sold, remember Sold when they were showing his life? That was Akashic records. And so purgatory would be part of that. Would be part of that. Now, how do I want to put this? Wes Paneri is the best breaking that down. But from a standpoint, let me see, how do I want to answer that? I want to put a little thought in this. Okay, from the standpoint of Dante, it ain't like that. But from the standpoint of there is a place where you could learn how to be dead, but there is a place where while you're learning how to be dead, you could be going through your Akashic records, but there could be how do I want to word this? So there could be some challenges. Perfect example is, as I was explaining before, the Tibetan Book of the Dead explains, if you shoot straight out, you shoot straight out. But say you don't, say you come out the eyes, you come out the ears. There could be some extra steps that you had to take for eternity. If you're allowed that, and you just don't walk in the light and then get fed upon. But that might be a way to break some of that off you, since you didn't come out the proper way, but you still came out the head, but you just came out the eyes or the ears or the mouth. You didn't shoot straight out the head. So purgatory or the middle place could be a way for you to hone some of that up, so to get the right push off. So that's kind of part of what purgatory would be. Again, Wes Paneri's papers, I can't tell you which one talked about that the best, but it's kind of a learning place, which again would show you how to, if you haven't been allowed to go to your Akashic records, you might have that opportunity before you go to, infinity, or go to not infinity, but be immortal like that. Yeah. So you might have the opportunity to make your crystalline thought stronger. You might have that opportunity, but it might come with some challenge because of if you didn't come out right. So I guess that's the best way. So it's not real in the Dante's Inferno's ways of being real, but it's real in the aspect of that could be a little memory that you've taken to death. Dan, that's what Dan Winters calls it. It could be a little memory that you retained. And because you retained some memory, you might get that chance to go to Wes Paneri calls the middle area, which is also a way of looking at purgatory too. But I'm going to get my son, because we go at it all night. We go at it all night. So I hope I answered it. Somebody wrote that goofy track. The 70s was a fun decade, fun and innocent and sexy all the time. Yeah, it really was. It really was. I was glad I grew up in the 70s. Yeah. That's when in Soul with Jamie Foxx, he shows that where he goes back, and that's Caustic Records. Again, that's why I kind of teach from the hallway perspective, because in the hallways, even though you have the thread of time going, you can lower that thread kind of like to be on the floor. I just teach it to be kind of like in here, from the simple fact that people understand it's there. But if you said the time thread was on the floor, and in these hallways, the way I teach it, you could hit that where there's different doors. That's the way I like. I'm not gonna say that part, but yeah, there's different doors. There's something else I want to say, but I'll hold that. But there's different doors that could open from the hallway perspective, whereas you're just teaching to meditate and you're just here. You're not really advancing anything. Yes, you're going to get the quiet state, and maybe you can get a certain entity or energy to come in. But far as you moving and accomplishing things, I think the hallway is a better way to go at it, because if you practice being in that hallway enough, you'll start seeing the doors. And I will say this part. I know the old ladies may not, but that is also a way to even jump into Zarin. That is a way to even jump into Zarin, because there's times where the doors are open and I can push my consciousness into something through just seeing in the doors. I've since learned an easier way, but that is also a way where you open these doors and you can push your consciousness. And it is a type of possession. I'm not going to sugarcoat. It's a type of possession when you czar, but that possibility is there. That's a little more advanced, but it's still that possibility. But like I've said, I went into a room. One time, and where are these goofy dudes at? Their goofy asses is in here. I want to find a picture with all their asses in here. Because technically these are gods. Okay. I know a lot of this is the shock energy, but I went into a room where they're like, these dudes are showing up. So these are the gods, and they come out of a boat. Remember, I showed you that last picture with a boat. And so I go into a room, and very, very looking very much these guys, looking very much like that. But they're laughing and giggling. And they're sitting in a boat. And so I walk into the room, and out of nothing comes this boat. And these gods are sitting there, and they're just laughing and giggling. And that's what they're doing. They're just laughing and giggling. They see me and they just start laughing even harder. And then they move and go on to something different. But it was just, I'm like looking at these guys and I'm like, wow, they're just silly as fuck. And they're just laughing hard. And I've told the story before about my cat. I'm sitting there and I just walked in the hallway, and then one of my cats come in and turns into a human, waves at me and opens the door and moves on. So that experience too. Hey, All Biz, thank you for joining me. I really thought he said condom style at first. Condom style. In the go in style or some shit like that. It's funny. Overstand that is funny. But All Biz, thank you for joining me. So that's why I teach it like that. I think it's more beneficial to learn all that. The time moving, the halls opened up, the doors opening up. I think all this it can be beneficial to you in your spiritual quest. And it may not happen like it happens to me, but this gives you a basis of knowing that there's more. That's all. Again, it won't happen to you the way it happened to me, but it's a possibility for you. Just because, like I was saying, with imagination is a big part. Imagination and spirituality. And I don't know if I get into that comedy, but it's imagination and creativity go together, and creativity and spirituality go together too, because once you go into these ethers, you still have to have perception. You still have to have your perception. And that's one of the first things will come is your perception. And so you're still able to recognize colors, lights. And I disagree with Bomber said that, a lot of people, once they go there, they won't be able to stay because they get frustrated that they're not breathing. But it's like when you dream, you're not breathing. So it's the same thing. You're not going to let that hold you up. Be like, wow, this is really cool. Well, damn, I'm not breathing. Blah, blah. Then you just fade back in. So that's the part of being relaxed, clearing your mind, and then finding your spot. Because again, standing on your square means you're standing on the directions. That's what it means. And you're in the center. What's better posture? A defender try to draw a charge, or when the defender tries to block the shot? What's a better posterize? What's a better posterize? The defender try to draw a charge, or when the defender tries to block a shot? It's better when they try to block a shot and you dunk on them. That's a way better posterize. Because it's just physics. It's physics. You got a person trying to move away and you're pushing away with momentum. Now it's you can get your dunk blocked, but most of the time, if you're moving, you can dunk on a person easier than they can block it because you're moving quicker and faster and just get punch it. So I say the better posterize is when they try to block it. When they try to block it, it looks a little better when you dunk on the guy. My first high school dunk, dude was running with me. And I caught it to half court and took 2-3 dribbles and got within that circle. And I went up and he went up and I just boom. That was as a junior. I think one of my park dunks was over a dude that was about 6'3". Benny Isaac was about 6'3". And Benny was a couple years older than me. And I was at the park. And it was just me and him. And I went up and he seriously tried to block it. And I just boom. And that was the dunk heard around the city at the time. And I just smashed it on him. And he saw me. He saw me last time I went to Michigan. I took my daughter to a game. He's like, you still dunking on people? So he still remembered it. So yeah, when they try to block it, it looks better. It looks better when they try to block it. But that's the thing you tell young people is it's harder to block a dunk. It's easier to, because just the way your momentum is going. And it's very fulfilling. But to dunk and keep going higher, boom, yeah. And I just miss, I'll say of being old, that I do miss playing basketball with the confidence I had, knowing I couldn't be stopped. Out of all the things I missed. And basketball was my way to get in shape. And so I've been like 10 years since, I tore my Achilles. No, I've tore my Achilles 6 years. Well, 21, I turned 15. So, wow, 7 years ago. So, yeah, 15, 7 years ago. So, and I almost was going to start playing. And then this thing hit. I just wonder if we get to reunite with loved ones after death, have a choice to not return here. And if I watch over my child, if I'm gone here, but my child is still on earth. Well, this is the thing, with your children is your DNA is with your children. And so the DNA being with your children, your memory will never be gone. The thing to look at loved ones is that could be a trap because that's the first thing they'll put out when you die. If you don't, start meditating and practicing leaving your body now, what they're going to put out is that very statement that you gave out. They'll throw relative to try to pull you into the light. So watch that, but afterwards you become all of them. You become from back to the source. So it may not be the thing where you sit around and physically see them, but the love that comes from your line and the family will always be there. And so the Gnostic book, the Gnostic Bible talks about, going to play with the source, going to feel eternity with the source. And so by being with the source through eternity, all of it is one. So all the love of your family is just together. So yes, it's not a one-on-one kind of thing, but it's the source of the love that you got from your family. You will be together in that way, harmonizing to the sounds of creation. So yeah, I mean it's and I'll say this though. If you achieve that, where you go to the source and you accept everything that's happened to you, and you do go to the source, you will see smiles. I mean, movies show that sometimes, but you will see smiles from your line. So it's like as you're moving toward the source, you might see the smiles from your family. Once you've kept a little bit of memory and you know you're not going to the light no matter who they throw, and then you go to the original source, you will get you will see smiles of loved ones. Like I told the story of one of my guides. I had broke through and I'm sitting on a balcony in the Virgin realm, and she just kind of floats around looking like she actually was looking like a giant head of Queen Elizabeth or whatever, which the one, the Queen in England, but a younger version. But she just gave me that look like, I'm glad you made it on your own. You didn't need me to help you. And that look she gave me is the same kind of look that you would experience once you went to source and found your own way and became part of that source love that made up your family. So you would get that kind of look, like my guide gave me, like, you made it without my help. I'm proud of you. So that kind of thing, if that makes sense. You know, I'll say this. It's just like reading the cards. You know, again, I don't really work with any. I just work with the natural energies when I do the pendulum, when I read cards. But the awakened one, she uses her guides. So, are there people out there that can really have that? Yes, yes. It's a hard thing to gauge, though. If you've got into the right one, it's a hard thing to gauge because, like David Blaine shows you, you can look at people and read them. I mean, David Blaine can look at your blinking and stuff, and he can look at all those facial expressions and read you. There are people that can read that. No way to get away from that. But there are people that can connect to this. Now, it's like the same thing in the mirrors. The mirrors are a great thing with grief. Now, understand, this is what I'll say about mirrors. You can look in that mirror and you can connect to a family member. You can work with that mirror enough and you'll see them appear and they'll give you a smile or whatever expression that gave you the most comfort. That could happen in the mirror. That's one thing that mirror work or crystal ball work can give you. But the thing is you might only get that microsecond of that smile. And for a lot of people, that ain't enough. They want to keep that going. And that's where it could get a little demonic because you're turning something into something else. That's the problem. So, not saying that people can't be genuine. You can, but you just have to look at what cues they're going by because some people can read you. So understand that. Understand that as they talk and they're seeing your facial expressions, they're hearing the way you're talking, that they feel as they talk, they're saying certain words and they're keen on how you're responding. So you have to really go in there like a card player and you can't show any emotion. So not to say that they can't, but I'm saying you got to go in there emotionless. So you can't be sitting there as they're explaining, agreeing and shit. I mean, you really got to go in there without emotion. And so you are giving them a blank slate. And if you can give that blank slate to someone and you can hold it, and then they start hitting on some things that could be, then you might have a person that's honest. So it's a lot to overcome, though. That's a lot of other ways to overcome. Yeah, I'm not fucking with Kwame Brown. I'm not fucking with Kwame Brown. Kwame is a plant. Opposed opposition. He ain't saying nothing about fixed sports. He's not saying anything. And then when he says to build more gyms, no, we need vocational centers. We need skills. Like Nick Taylor did. Nick, I talked about this last night. Nick Taylor wanted to show young men some skills. And it wasn't going to be a full class where you was going to come out being a welder, but it was going to give you, if you continue, this is the basis you need to know, and then you continue it. Nick Taylor did that. So here's a millionaire talking about building more gyms. That means being an entertainer still. We're past that. Do I believe in the devil? I don't believe in anything. I only know. So, which devil? That's my friend out in the UK. That's what she say. Which devil? Which one? Which devil? That's the question. Because Lucifer is not connected with the devil. Lucifer's not even in the Bible. That's some shit they made up through transition. So I'd have to ask you, which one? That's the thing. Okay, well, that's very kind of you to say. So I don't believe in anything. I only know. Now, is there wicked in the world? Is there wicked in the world? That's what you have to say. Is there wicked in the world? There's very wicked in the world. And is this wicked organized? The wicked is organized, very much so. Hell, you can look at the history of Hollywood if you want to know if the wicked is organized. Very wicked shit that these people in Hollywood put people through. So are you calling the devil wicked? There is wickedness in this world. And there's organized wickedness. Organized wickedness. So if you want to say that's a devil, okay. Because there's no opposite of Hanukkah. There's no opposite of the hero twins. I guess you want to say Cain and Abel. No, it's just the light. So there's definitely no opposite to the time walkers. So that's that opposite thing. If you believe in good, you got to believe in evil. Or if you believe in good, you got to believe in bad. If you believe in happy, you got to believe in sad. Those are words that go together. But love is supreme. It's by itself. Joy and bliss are the same way. Love and hate, that's some made up shit that rhymes. That's all. Joy and pain, again, that's some made up shit that rhymes. They have nothing to do with each other. So, I told Sly, wasn't it ironic that Kwame Ranch started on the birthday of Boulay? Yeah, I saw that, PJ, and you're right. You're right. It was all organized. I mean, okay, you talk about them the first or second day all week. Then the next week, you still on the same thing, tearing brothers down, and you are arguing about the brothers that tore you down. So it's fame. It's a money grab. Kwame brought fame, and he famous. He more famous now than his career ever gave him. He is more famous than his career ever gave him in his 2 weeks. So he had to get famous by talking about other folks. Man, you know, them other cats, we know what they about. He ain't had to bring that shit up about Charlemagne for people to know Charlemagne done sold his soul. How would a person like that, him from South Carolina, get fired as he did without selling his soul? There's no way. There's no way he didn't sell his soul. So all of them, all three of them have sold their soul. Yeah, he wants to stay relevant, right? Do you share a tall feather today? Did you shake a tall feather today, anyone? It's funny. I kind of did. After I showed the video, I got to messing with my pipe that has the feather. And then I have some feathers in the garage I was messing with. So, yeah, kind of did. So, yes, I did. It's interesting that you mentioned that. Because when it made me mess with my pipe, and my pipe has a feather on it from Charles Henderson. He makes those pipes, makes knives too. He's my friend on Facebook. I've got to send him a package too. I got to look to see where I got his address. But I need to send him some stuff, some crystals, because he gifted me that pipe a few years ago. And when I would do flour, normally I would bring the pipe out and do flour. Flour is just so harsh. It is just so harsh. Don't really like smoking it. I like smoking the concentrates. So, I'm Haitians. That's what I do. Ah, niece. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's uh yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting. And thank you for putting that out there. Thank you for putting that out there. Well, my butt is hurting. Sitting down so long. Feels good though. Feels good to eat under these lights. A lot of lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 lights. 4, yeah, 7 lights. Yeah, 7 lights. Gets hot. It's not hot. That tells you how cool it is outside. It's not hot at all. It's just, and plus it's supposed to rain. It ain't raining. That's good enough. I do have to go pick up my son in the morning. Talking about dad. Was I born a Christian? No. I haven't been baptized. I haven't been baptized, B. Brown or B. Brownlee. I have not been baptized. Actually, my mother's family tended to be Roman Catholic because my great grandmother, that's how she was raised. Well, she was a Bradley, and that's how she was raised. So we were kind of early Roman Catholic, but my father's family and my stepfather's family was Pentecostal, Holy Rollers. So I was exposed to both. And then when I was 17, I took Islam on myself and started studying Islam from the time I was my whole senior year to going into my freshman year. I practiced in Islam for them 2 years. So, well, good night, Sebastian. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Well, yeah, I'm going to call it to an end. I'm in this 2 hours. This is a long time. And maybe everybody manifest. I think I'm going to go on early tomorrow because my daughter is probably going to have his computer tied up. So I'll use the other equipment and go on tomorrow and do a daylight thing. This is my goofy son sending me goofy stuff. And so some couple people that don't see me during the day, sorry that I was working on that equipment, trying to get it to work with the phones. So I probably should do a daily show once a week at least for the people that don't stay up late, that like to get this information. So I'm working on that too. So how it's going, 8 Win? I like the truth you teach and knowledge you drop. From New Zealand, much love. Oh, you got the greenstone. You're from New Zealand where they got the greenstone. I've got a small piece in one of my hats, and the hat is kind of big. Like the bucket hats, some of them are just so big. I guess I didn't realize that. Well, that's kind of you to say, IQ. And maybe you can catch me on another time because I think I'm going to have to. I've been going on 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I need to stand up. So this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I'm 8Wind. It's Timeless, your host, and I appreciate everyone that sees it now or ever sees it in the future. Thank you very much for paying attention to an old man that does his best and tries his best. So as you know, I always end with Eshan's poem, which I will drop now. I'm not a New York rapper or LA gang banger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slanger. Oh, can't end. Got one more thing to say. Now, there's a history of gangsters that was in Michigan and Detroit. And I've talked about like Al Prophet pushes this gangster stuff in Detroit, still all about the dope dealers. But there's a dude named Boone. And I broke Boone down before. Boone was a paid Army specialist that went into Detroit streets and killed for the CIA, but under the guise of being this drug dealers. So you can look up a dude named Maserati Rick. Maserati Rick was buried in like a Mercedes-like casket. Those of you old enough, it was in Jet Magazine. They showed Rick's. But he told some shit that showed he was complicit in the killing. Now, he's never been convicted, but he was complicit. So, first of all, he supposedly pays, Maserati Rick is supposedly paying him to be his bodyguard. Now, he claims when Rick got shot at the car wash, Rick just left. Didn't take his bodyguard. They got him. So they take Rick to one hospital. Boone is one of the ones who says, we can't protect you here. You need to go to this other hospital. Boone is talking to the killers. So Boone convinces Rick to go to this other hospital where he's killed. So isn't Boone complicit? He admits it out his own words. They tell him he's not safe at the other hospital. Go to this other hospital. And that other hospital, more than likely, they knew somebody inside security, and they go in and shoot Rick while he's in the hospital. So Boone, we know you're CIA, and you told on yourself. You told on yourself. You told that you was complicit in that man's murder when he was fine at the original hospital. But you admit that you convinced Rick to move to the other hospital where he was killed. Under guise, we can't protect you here. This is not our side of town. So if you listen, they will tell. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Edwin is Timeless. Till we meet again.